There are other ways of using the if function as well, as you'll see here. We have a number of different transactions that involve the original order date and the ship date. And what we want to be able to do is in column C, put in there the letters SD for same day, if in fact they order it and it gets shipped on the same day. We want to see SD in there, okay? That's if it's true. If it isn't true, in other words, that there's a difference between the order date and the ship date, we want then it to give us the number of days in between. In other words, how many days was it between order date and ship date? So it's either going to be an SD in there, a 1, a 2, or a 3. All right, depending how many days. All right. So like on this first one, we'll definitely get a what? We've got January 1st and January 1st. So that will be an SD. But the other ones, like this one here, this will end up giving us a 1 as a result. And this would be maybe a 2 as a result. See there? All right, so let's see how this works. So we'll go back to the first one here. We'll type in our equal, our if. There's our if. We'll double click that. All right. Now the test is going to be, now watch this, and you can do it either way. If A2 equals B2, just like that. All right. If A2 equals B2, that's your test. If you said equal, or if you said B2 equal A2, that'll work as well. So we'll put a comma in there. Now, if it's true, then I want, in quotation marks, SD to come in. If not, I want to take B2 minus A2. I'll just type them in there. All right? So if A2 equal B2, then put SD in there. If not, subtract A2 from B2. All right? So you do that, enter it in. Those are SD on the first one. Take that, copy it down. Look at that. That's powerful. All right. Let's look at the next one here. I thought this might be kind of interesting. I want to put a red check mark instead of a SD. All right. Put a red check mark in there. And then we can also, if it isn't, meaning if it isn't same day, meaning you get a red check mark, then tell me the number of days. So I'm just kind of giving you like an alternative here, right? Between the two. So you probably would have one or the other, but you wouldn't have both in here. So the key, the trick is how to get the red check mark in there for an SD, because the check mark isn't really a key that we have on our keyboard, all right? But it is a character that's available on your computer system, all right? I will tell you what it is. It's actually character number 252 using the Wingding font. I'll get into all this in just a second here, but just kind of bear with me. Let's get the beginning part in here. So over here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, okay, equal, all right. Now, you're going to notice that it's giving me a really goofy looking character here, okay? I typed in equal and I got that thing. Well, that is coming in there because I'm using the Wingding font in this column. And the Wingding font has, as one of the characters, the check mark. But most of your other fonts that you have, character number 252 is not a check mark, okay? So that's why. So anyway, the idea here is that because I've already got this formatted in Wingding, you're going to actually see those characters that are of Wingding land, right? But I want you, as we're doing this, just kind of keep your eye on the formula bar here instead, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to say equal what? So I'm going to do equal IF And we'll just do a double click on if there, right? I know it looks bad, don't worry about it, but here you can see it up at the top. So if what? If this one here equals, right, this one here, comma, so that's your test, okay? So if that happens, then what I want is, I want this check mark. So in order to get this character number 252, all right, what you do is we type in the function ch, okay, and that will give us character here, char. So we'll do a double click on that one, and what I want is character number 252, and then I can just close that off, all right? So that's what I want if they're equal. If they're not equal, comma, then just take B2, right, minus A2, right? There you go. Looks pretty bad with that wing ding. All right, so that's it. And once you've done that, close off your parenthesis like I got, and that's it. Now we enter that in, and notice we get the check mark in there, see? So there that is. And now I'll go ahead and I'll just copy this down, and there we go. Now the only problem with this is that when you do something like this, then of course the rest of it is in wingdings, and here we're getting, you know, like the number 1 or number 2 or whatever, so that's all happening there. So usually in this kind of situation, you don't want, you can't really combine both. Oh, I want a character, if it's, you know, character such and such. If not, then just give me the number, because then the number gets translated into this goofy stuff. And it would be kind of crazy thing to sit there and go, well, I'll just select this area here and change the font. I mean, forget it. So the key to that is that if you really want to have the check mark, then we pretty much have to forego the rest of these, all right, and just have it blank. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll just take this here, all right, everybody, and we'll just say, give me nothing, okay? So give me the check mark if it's true. If not, give me nothing. I'll enter that in, and then I'll go ahead and I'll copy that down, and there we go. So that would be it. So it's one or the other, but I just thought that the check mark would be kind of a cool thing to show you there with that. Now the last thing I want to show you is the bonus that we have over here in column J. And the way we want to work this is that we want to pay them a bonus only if the dollar amount that they did exceeds the goal that we had in mind for them for this particular sale. All right, so if this number ends up being equal to or greater than this number here, then we will pay them, we'll pay them like a 5% bonus on their gross amount, their total amount here, okay? If not, they get nothing, all right? That's just the way it is. So we'll go over here, we'll type in equal, we'll do our if, all right? And we'll say if what? If G2 here, if this guy here is greater than or equal to the goal, all right? Then what we'll do is we'll take the total times 0.05. If not, we'll just put a 0 in there. You want to do that, you want to put the 0 in there rather than just 2 quotation marks, because the 2 quotation marks are end up putting it like a space in there. And if you're adding up that column later on, you're going to get an error because you're adding up numbers and like non-numbers, you know, spaces, and you'll get an error off of that. So you're better off just making it a 0, all right? So once you've done that, we enter that in, and Adams or this first one here gets nothing, that transaction, because it didn't exceed it. We copy it down, and you can see a number of other ones did get the bonus, because on this one, 27 over 24, I think so. All right, so hopefully this will come in handy for some of your designs. I can imagine, just using your imaginations, you can really come up with some pretty good stuff to give, or basically to get more information out of your data. I mean, that's really overall why we do formulas in general, but I think the if really kind of adds another dimension to what you can get out of your worksheets. So thanks a lot for watching.